Hey guys, Chris here with Angler Unit, and today we're going to do a quick little, I always say quick, don't I? And I feel like that's the biggest lie. I don't know that it's ever quick, but I'm going to try to be quick and do an unboxing, mostly terminal tackle. I think we all get wrapped up in lures, hard baits, soft plastics, swim baits, and sometimes I've noticed a lot of anglers have a lot of lures they need, but not a lot of the terminal tackle that they need to fish everything properly. Or sometimes they get real locked in on like a 4/0 and a 3/0 hook, and they don't have those 1/0s and 2/0s and 5/0s for those weird times that they are really required. So this is just a restock of some terminal tackle, and I'm sure it's a order I got in the mail a while ago and I never opened it. And I'm sure in here there are some baits because I can't help myself. So let's dig in, see what I got. We'll look at it, and yeah, maybe we'll get another video out of this as far as a organization video, because that's something that I have issues with, and I'm starting to solve it with the correct boxes. And yeah, we'll dig into that later. Let's get into this box now and see what we got. Okay, with Tackle Warehouse, I have a wish list on there, and I have it really organized. Like, I have it organized by like terminal tackle, hooks, hard baits, not just hard baits, but like square bills, jerk baits, and it's just where I kind of keep everything. So when I need something, I don't have to go digging for it. I just go on Tackle Warehouse and I go down to jerk baits. There it is. There's the one I like. So really, I primarily use Tackle Warehouse out of laziness and the fact that they have a wish list feature. To me, that's huge. I like being able to organize my wish list and just have it all in there. All the things that I use all the time are all organized in there, so I can just go and grab them. So it's those two reasons why I kind of stick with them. So yeah, there's terminal tackle in here, and there's a bunch of Roboworm stuff. So let's start with the terminal tackle, and in no particular order, because I can't, you know, they're all little packages. I can't really do it in order. So the Picasso Rhino Neds, they're my favorite. I started buying them, I don't know, I can't even remember, honestly. Like, with the pandemic, it threw everything off. Could be like 4 years ago that I started using these. Now, what I love about them is they come in 1/0, which that's what I like when I'm fishing like a Ned rig for smallmouth. I don't need a 2/0 or a 3/0. I like the 1/0 hooks. So I have the 1/0 here in the 1/16 and in the 1/8. But then what I do is they also make it in a 2/0. So I buy the 2/0 in the 1/16 and the 1/8. And the way I decide my size usually is 1/16 I use in calm conditions in pretty shallow water. And then the 1/8 I use in kind of everything else. And I don't really go heavier than that because I like the slow fall. I like it to sort of fall like a Senko, so I don't generally go up. So I'm going to see if I have the other sizes in here, and I do. So then I got the 1/16 and the 1/8 in the 2/0. So just slightly bigger, but I feel like the 1/0 is like a little small for largemouth, and I feel like the 2/0's a little big for smallmouth. I know it's splitting hairs, but that's what I love about Picasso, is that they're very cognizant of the hook sizes that they're using on like all their lures that they make. So they're an awesome company. I can't stress enough how good their stuff is. And I just don't think they have the marketing dollars to get their name out there. So a bunch of the Rhino Neds. And it doesn't hurt that Aaron Martin's had something to do with it. You know, I think we all trust his prowess when it comes to some finesse tactics. So the owner cover shot. Now, these I like on little tiny finesse baits, little soft plastic finesse things. So this is the cover shot, the owner cover shot in the 1/0. This is the size that I will use for drop shotting around cover. If I'm gonna Texas rig a drop shot worm, the 1/0 cover shot is where I go. And I'm pretty sure that I have the 2, 3, and 4 in here as well. This is a hook I have not tried yet. This is the Gamakatsu G Finesse. These are the worm hooks. So these are, what's the technical word for it? Hybrid worm. So it's not an EWG, and it's not a straight shank, and it's not a traditional J hook worm hook. So I think where these are gonna fill in my terminal tackle is, I have a tendency to use EWGs even on worms. Like if I'm using like a 5 or a 6 inch worm, I'm still putting an EWG on it, which I've done it forever, but I feel like maybe it's overkill. So I kind of like that these are a little thinner gauge hook with that that slick coating on them. So I want to try these out. Right, so that's that. There's the owner cover shot in the 2/0. Owner CPS springs that I like to use on my flukes. I think these are the medium. And I thought I bought the big package and I didn't. I bought the little package again, so I'll be running out of these quickly. There's probably like 7 in here, but you know, twist them into the nose of the fluke when you're nose hooking it, and then just stick your little, you know, 1/0 finesse hook through the spring to keep the bait from tearing up. Otherwise, they're coming off constantly. All right. So these are the Picasso Rhino Neds. I did get a heavier weight, the 3/8. I think that was a mistake, but it's all right. I usually don't fish 3/8, but you know, there'll come a time. And then they also have these the Rhino heads, and they have a different keeper on the shank where the the Neds have a little wire. These have a molded point on the lead. So I got them in the 3/0 and the 4/0, and these are the ones I use for shaky heads. So they're both a Rhino head, but this has a different bait keeper on it. It's more of, you know, it's part of the lead in the head. So they work amazing for shaky heads, which you know, are usually a Roboworm. So I don't remember. I know I got 3/0 and 4/0, and they're probably, you know, like 3/16 or something like that. I don't know. Let's just pull out all the rest of the hooks here. So the G Finesse hybrid worm, this one, again, those I have not used, but I'm, you know, I think they're going to be a nice in between my Finesse straight shanks and the extra wide gap. So that's the 2/0. This is the 4/0. Let's see if the rest are in here. Here's the other Rhino. So this is the Rhino head in the, probably the 4/0. So the 3/0 and a 4/0, and I use those on shaky heads. So the 3/0 I'll use on like a 5 or 6 inch finesse worm, and then the 4/0 on the like 7, 8 inch finesse worm. Dude, I got a lot. I think this is a mistake. I don't know why I bought this many Rhino heads. So I've got the Rhino Neds and the Rhino heads. And again, there's the difference. And the plastics keeper on these is different. This one's like a little metallic hook on the middle of the shank. This one is lead molded into the head, but they both have that squared off Rhino head where the line tie is embedded in the lead, so it's not jutting out and grabbing a lot of weeds, and that's why I love it. There's the cover shot in the 3/0, the cover shot in the 4/0, and I know I didn't get anything bigger than that. I made a mistake. There must have been like double. I must have doubled up a lot of these Rhino heads and Rhino Neds. There's a stack here. So, I mean, that's not a problem because you do tend to go through them a lot because the kids typically just fish a Ned rig, and you know what kids do with baits. They're like always stuck in the rocks. Picasso tungsten drop shot weights. I'm constantly being made fun of for my lack of terminal tackle when I'm out on the water. You know, I'm going out with like 3 drop shot weights, and then, you know, I'm like, dude, can I borrow a drop shot weight? Borrow. Owner all-purpose snaps, I use them. I buy them in like the 1, 2, and 3 sizes usually. Just not a fan of constantly retying, and I've never seen a, I don't know, how do I know if it affects the fish's attraction to a bait? I personally don't think it matters, and so I just use them. If I can get away with it, I'll use it like 99% of the time. You know, the only thing I don't really use it on is like a Texas rig or a free rig, but anytime I can use a snap, I'm using it. It just saves so much line and creates less waste on the boat or shore. So all-purpose snaps, just a bunch of those. I tend to like everything from Owner. Oh my God. More Rhino Neds. So I must have had like quantity like 6 instead of 1. More all-purpose snaps. So let's see here. 0, 2, and 3, and I'm sure that there's a 1 in here for the all-purpose snaps. A bunch of Roboworms in here. We'll get to that later. Oh my God. I don't know what happened. So there's more Rhino heads and Rhino Neds in here. So I'm going to be set for Ned rigs and shaky heads for the next 2 years. Yeah, the snaps in the 1 as well. So 0, 1, 2, 3. I use the zeros basically when I'm creek fishing for smallmouth. So the 1, 2, and the 3 I use on all of my rigs for primarily largemouth, and you know, the 1 will go between largemouth and a lot of smallmouth fishing, but the zeros really are just the ones that I use in the creek when I'm wading. They're always micro baits, and the smallmouths, like a giant might get to be like 2 pounds, would be like a giant there. So, you know, I love these. If you're going to use snaps on your baits, you know, I just trust Owner, and I've used them forever. Mosquito Light for drop shots. You know, I probably should have bought a lot more than that. Now, this is one of the things where this looks like a 7-pack, and I thought I ordered a 20-pack. So, yeah, I did something weird with my order. So, the cover shot 1 through 4. And then let's get into these Roboworms and we'll call it a day. So, the 4.5-inch Roboworm curly tail worm. I've shocked myself with these on, you know, we always use like these Ned baits that are like 2.75 inches, but when I'm in a creek that's crystal clear, and I mean it's like spring water with a rock bottom and not a lot of cover except for the boulders down there, I'm always surprised at how unobtrusive this 4.5-inch curly tail worm is. Like smallmouth just hunt it down and they'll come out of hiding to grab it. And I even get bit by a lot of panfish on it. And like, I think my record largemouth, my record smallest largemouth came on one of these. Like the largemouth was like as big as the 4.5-inch curl tail. So one thing that I don't use it for a lot, that I get a lot of flack for, is drop shotting. I just fish them, you know, straight up, like with like the lightest Texas rigged weight that I can get away with, or I'll fish them on like a really finessey Ned head. And I do drop shot them, and have, but I don't do it a lot. So I got Sexy Shad. Now there's a few colors that I use all the time, like the Aaron's Magic, and the Bold Bluegill, and another one, like it's like a motor oil color. This is the Bold Bluegill. But what I did is I got all the colors because I've never owned all of them, and it's one of those baits that when I go fishing with the kids, I can put this on a Ned rig and it just get a little bit more action. So it's like they're fishing like a little old school plastic worm with a curl tail, and you know, they have a blast with it. And they don't, you know, when I take them, they're not using heavy line and bait casters. They're using like little spin casters, you know, the little Ike series spin casters with like 8-pound line. So this is like a way for them to fish a worm without needing powerful equipment or a powerful hook set. So Bold Bluegill. This is a color of the curly tail that I have never used, and this is Purple Smoke. What else? Hologram Shad, that's another staple color for Roboworms with me. You know, Roboworms, one of those things where I love the soft plastics. I don't like the salt. Just put the salt in it. I hate baits where there's like salt all over it, like it's a pretzel. This is Margarita Mutilator 3. Baby Bluegill. I'll do a video where we look at these up close so you guys can see them all. I believe this is Aaron's Morning Dawn. Very similar to Margarita Mutilator, just lighter. Salt and Pepper Chartreuse. This color, small largemouth tend to really like that color for some reason. So I got all the curl tails. I've been using these probably over a decade now. Baby bass, this color. I sent them to my friend Isabella. I hope she is trying these on a drop shot. The baby bass curl tail is a absolute stone cold killer. Morning Dawn Red Flake, that's the only Morning Dawn I use. I don't typically use the other Morning Dawn. Aaron's Magic Red and Black Flake, I love that one, used it forever. Desert Craw, I've used it in other Roboworm products, never in the curl tail 4.5-inch worm. I mean, this is an absolute finesse bait. This color does really well in the fall here in Pennsylvania. I don't know why orange. You know, a lot of people think orange and red in the spring, but for some reason, for me, orange is like a total September, October color for soft plastics here. Now, this is a color I haven't used in the 4.5-inch from Roboworm. This is Prism Shad. This is an amazingly awesome color. We're gonna look at this one up close. It looks like a lot of bait fish in the Delaware River here. Oxblood, light red flake. This color was like one of those colors I used, not oxblood red flake, but this type of color. It was very productive for me in the 1990s. These dark browny, purpley brown colors, done really well in clear water with them. And then just a couple of the straight tails. And these aren't the straight tail fats that I typically would use on a shaky head. These are the normal 6-inch straight tails, drop shot. So yellow perch, because when I fish in New Jersey, less in Eastern Pennsylvania, but a lot of the places I fish in Jersey have perch, so I added that in. And green pumpkin amber just looked like a nice fall color for me here. And that's it. So, yeah, thanks for checking this video out, guys. I'm working on the terminal tackle. I keep a tray in my day bag that has a little bit of every single hook that I use. A lot of the owner stuff is back ordered until it almost feels like December, like the haymakers and all those other hooks. But what I'm going to suggest to you guys is figure out all your presentations and exactly what terminal tackle and what hooks you need. And find a brand you like, stick with it. Find a hook you like, stick with it. And just expand outside of your comfort zone. Like if you're always just buying like a 4/0 EWG hook from Gamakatsu, and you just use it all the time, think about, can you get away with a 3/0 in a lot of those presentations? I bet you can. So think about downscaling, but just make sure that you have everything with you. Now, I should practice what I preach. I keep all my stuff organized, but it gets jumbled and I don't label. So there are a lot of times where, you know, I open up my tray and my hook tray and a lot of things have jumped. Get organized with that stuff, because this is the easy, fun stuff. And I don't think colors matter as much as people think. I think it's more about like just translucent, natural colors, and then colors with a little contrast. And by contrast, I mean from top to bottom, not with the water. Just get a bunch of natural stuff. You know, figure out what works for you and then stick with like 4 or 5 at most. And I think it's more important that your terminal tackle is dialed, like your line size. Make sure you're using like hooks that are a little more finessey. Like you're not going out and catching a 16-pounder every day. So I believe in downsizing. You know, your drag's there to protect you if you hook into a big fish. Don't underdo it and go with ultra light line. But I feel like everyone's like between 2 and 4 pounds in line diameter, heavier than they need to be. And, you know, everyone thinks you need like 3X hooks, and you don't. Like 1X is plenty. Like 2X in cover, and 3X, that's like Florida monsters in heavy cover. So really think about where you're fishing and try to just scale everything back just a little bit. Everything looks better, everything's a little more finessey, and I think you get more bites that way. So see you guys in the next one. Take care.